All right triangle word problems. Let's get something so I can copy this problem and we can work it together. All right. Bugs Bunny was 33 meters below ground, digging his way towards Pismo Beach when he realized that he wanted to be above ground. He turned and dug through the dirt diagonally for 80 meters until he was above ground. What is the angle of elevation in degrees that he wanted to start going at? Well, they tell us this basically it's going to be trig, it's right triangles. So we're going to try to figure out which trig function we're going to use. So here we go again. I've written these every single time. The sine is opposite over hypotenuse. The cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And the tangent is opposite over adjacent. Here we have the opposite side. It's away from the angle, and that's the hypotenuse. We're using sine. So the sine of the angle we want, and I don't know, call it whatever you want. We'll call it alpha, is equal to 33 over 80. And now this is that sine inverse button. Again, on your calculator, you're going to hit the second button, and then there should be a sine inverse. If you're using like a calculator, it's literally written on the calculator. If you're using your phone, when you're going to type in 33 divided by 80, and when you hit second, the sine button will change into the sine inverse button. So I'm going to take the sine inverse of that, and I get 24.36. Rounded to the nearest tenth, so I got 24.4. All right, try the next one. Same thing. Let's try to get this. Move this up a little bit. Copy this. All right. And just a touch. Okay, Howard is designing a swing ride. The swing ropes are 5 meters long. In the full swing, they tilt at a degree of 29 degrees. Howard wants the chairs to be 2.7 meters above the ground. How tall should the pole be? Okay, so what we have here, if you want to think about it again, so straight across, I didn't do a good job of going straight across, but you go straight across. So this is 2.75. We want to know how long this is. So here we go again, every single time. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So we come back here. This is the side we want to know. That's the angle, so that's the adjacent side. That's the hypotenuse. We're using cosine. So we want the cosine of 29 degrees to equal, this is our unknown, question mark, divided by 5. So basically we end up with this, which again, now becomes a calculator typing problem. So again, use your calculator however you need to find the cosine of 29, and then times it by 5, and I get 4.37. They want it to the nearest hundredth, so I got 4.37. 4.3. Oh, wait. How tall should the pole be? I got to remember to add that 2.75 to it. 4.37 plus 2.75. I almost forgot that this was 4.37, but I got to go the whole height here. So I had to add that on. I almost didn't answer the question asked. So we need 7.12. All right, next question. Okay, this looks very similar to the Bugs Bunny question we did just a second ago. In fact, it's basically the same thing. So if we look at this one, it's just flipped the other way this time, but it's actually the exact same problem. You have the opposite and the hypotenuse. So basically you're saying the sine inverse of 42 over 100. So now we go back. Again, 42, which is just 0.42, and then sine inverse. I get 24.83. It wants it to the nearest tenth, so I got 24.8. All right, last one. Very similar question again. Kind of that same thing we've done with the Bugs Bunny question a couple of times. But this time I think it's wanting to know this hypotenuse. How far should Galileo walk on the inclined plane? Now, they're wanting to know, if you read this whole thing, they're wanting to know what this length is. So, again, we're dealing with opposite and hypotenuse. So, again, we're dealing with sine. So, the sine of 15 degrees equals the opposite divided by the hypotenuse. Now, we multiply by the h, and then we divide by the sine. So now we have 150 divided by the sine of 15. And I get 579.55. And they want it to the nearest hundredth. And actually it's 5.6 because of the way I got around it. So 579.56. It's 555 is when I typed it in. Okay, there's word right triangle trig word problems. Ask questions, try and make sure you understand them.